If you're getting back into strength training and you don't want to make these mistakes, then listen up. These mistakes go more so towards injuries and preventing that. And I can probably vouch the fact that I've done all of them and potentially had downfalls in that. So here it goes. So number one is all about your consistency and knowing when to push and when not to push. And that falls into following a program. If you're not used to strength training, if you're not used to programming yourself and balancing the different exercises, balancing the different loads, then following a program is going to be one of the best things that you can do for yourself. One, it takes kind of the mind thought process out of it, and you start following a plan that somebody has built for you. With that in mind, you want to make sure that you're following a plan that is more for beginners or that has a little bit slower progression, because this goes into kind of point number two, but we want to make sure that we are balancing ourselves in the program. We're not doing all just legs and quads. We're not doing all just core stability. We're not doing all pushes when it comes to our shoulders. There's been so many times as a PT that I've had people come in and I talk to them about what program they're following, even though they're following somebody else's program, but it's not balanced. It's not looking at the full picture. When it comes to a lot of strength training, some of the things that people program for are for aesthetics, how you look. Now, all of us want to look better. That's part of the reason why we strength train, is because we want to better ourselves. And I like the way that my muscles look whenever I'm doing more strength training. I like the way that I feel. And that comes into us wanting to push in that. But there's a balance act in that, is that we need to make sure we're balancing our body, that we're giving ourselves inputs, strengthening muscles in all the different areas. As we're doing different pushes, we need to make sure we're doing enough pulls to open our chest up, because we're already in this position anyways, where we're kind of slumped forward and just looking at everything in front of us here. Then we need to open ourselves up and we need to strengthen some of our opposite and opposing muscle groups, our pull, our upper pull muscles. And if we don't have enough of those included in the workout, then we're not going to have balance for our shoulders, balance for our neck, and also balance for our trunk. Now, along with that comes, if we are doing a ton of squats, split squats, and more quad-centric exercises, and we do not focus enough on our hamstrings and our glutes, then we're also going to have issues. We need to make sure that our legs and our hips are balanced in that. And so as you're following a workout program, ask yourself, does this make sense? Is it balancing and working on some of my weaker areas more and helping me to still gain strengths in some of the areas that I'm better at? And all of those should come into play as you're starting a workout program. Number two, I kind of mentioned it earlier, but it's that you're going too hard too soon. If you're starting to strength train, then your body is going to go through a lot of transition in the first couple months. You're going to get stronger and you're going to have these different changes, your muscle adaptations, your like kind of brain to body awareness of what you're doing, what movements you're doing, and you're going to get better at all of those. It's not a time that you push heavier and heavier initially off the bat. As you go through these first couple months, you will gain more strength. You'll gain more control, and it's actually a neuromuscular control more so than it is a hypertrophy of the muscles, because it takes about 12 weeks for you to start gaining strength. But you can see so many gains in that first 0 to 12 weeks just from how your nervous system and your tendons and your bones and all of these other things start to make adaptive changes to help you with progressing and moving forward. These are things that have to happen so you can start gaining hypertrophy in your muscles. So you can start seeing the difference in that. And you'll feel stronger in these 0 to 12 weeks, even though it's just neuromuscular, or how your nervous system is functioning, how your motor control or your kind of body awareness, how if you're able to hip hinge, if you're able to do these different moves, if you're now understanding your overhead presses. All of these things kind of correlate in. And if you go too hard too soon, those things aren't built up enough for you to have a solid foundation. And this solid foundation is what keeps you out of the injured category. It keeps you where you're not going to do a deadlift and all of a sudden feel a pop and it's going to be done. It's going to keep you where you can build that strength, where you're getting these good movement awareness, mind to body control, and it starts to become easier. You don't have to think about what you're doing quite as much because those patterns have been built in. And now you're starting to now put more load onto them and put more stress into it where you can actually tolerate it and really push that mark. So not going too hard too soon. Use your rate of perceived exertion of understanding what loads you need to be lifting. Having that help you to determine, I can push my weight a little bit more, or I'm not quite feeling it today. I'm going to decrease my weight a little bit, because it's not always a linear progression of always moving up. We have times that we're plateaued, we have times that we go down and then up, and we go kind of this sinusoidal wave. I tell most of my athletes that it's not going to be this always linear progression upward. We have life things that happen, and we have to listen to some of that. We have to know when we can push and when we can back off. And also when different seasons come of pushing and backing off. And so that was number 2. Don't go too hard too soon. Number three is mobility. It is imperative that we work on mobility. And some people have a thing, they call it flexibility, mobility. I want you moving your body in ways that stretches your muscles and also moves your joints. I nickname both of those mobility because it's easier to say. Mobility is a way of keeping your body healthy. It is also not a way of just overstretching. If you find yourself only wanting to do mobility, only wanting to stretch, then we're missing a component in your strength training. It probably means that you need to back off a little bit. If you feel tightness in your hip flexors all the time, then your core is not working enough. You need to back off your core exercises, do an easier one, so you can kind of learn that control in there. It's one of the main reasons why all of my programs that I have in my app is they have levels. You can go up or you can go down, and it's not a negative to go down. It's I'm going to make sure I got this under control. I'm going to make sure I got my foundations right. And then you progress more forward. And same thing goes for like your low back. If your low back is always getting tight, it's not that you need to do more mobility for it. It's not that you need to do more stretches. It's that you need to be more concentrated in your core work. You need to be more concentrated during your deadlifts. If you need a deadlift exercise, video, check out this one that I have here. It's about how to help prevent tightness in your back while doing deadlifts. All of these things come together in you need mobility, you need stability. And those two are married together to help you not get injured and to help you feel better in your body as you are doing more strength training, stability, and as you're doing more mobility exercises. Like I have in my program, there's a 5-minute daily mobility, and it goes through more of a head to toe every single day. Some similar exercises, some different, but it's to help your nervous system feel that different movement. It's to help your joints get the movement through the range, and it's to help your muscles get some of that stretching effect to learn to stay lengthened instead of just contracted more so. And being consistent with that, as you're consistent with your strength training, those two are what helps you to actually move the needle forward, feel better, and to get where you want as your gains, whether that's being that you want to ride your mountain bike better, whether that's that you want to climb and hike these different mountains. All of these things come into play of that you need both strength training and mobility, stability, mobility for you to progress forward and feel good. I hope this was helpful. If you are looking for a winter training program and you're a female mountain biker, check out the link in the description below. I have one that I just released, and I'm really excited about it. And I hope it helps those who are interested in following a program that starts them off a little bit slower, if they need it at that time, has different levels you can step up into, and has directions of how to listen to your body with rate of perceived exertion. Cheers, y'all.